Welcome to the Ernie Chambers Show.
Brothers and sisters, friends, enemies, and neutrals, I'm back live. As with many things, that declaration will make some people be pleased, others will be greatly displeased. But we have to understand that things in life don't always go the way we want, nor the way we expect. So that's where the Boy Scouts motto comes in. Be prepared. No matter what happens, either we're going to face it and deal with it, we're going to duck our head and run for cover and hope that it goes by, or we'll be so much at sea that we'll behave like a dog chasing his tail. What I want to start talking about today are some things that trouble me and perhaps other people. I am now almost 77 years old. When my birthday comes in July, that will make me 77 years old, which is 87 years. One reason, even when I was younger, I had determined that I was going to live that long because Abraham Lincoln had a way of creating phraseology that was very attention-grabbing. And he started his Gettysburg Address 77 years ago. Our forefathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men, he didn't say women, are created equal, are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, among these life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So I wanted to be able to say, 77 years ago, my parents brought forth on this continent a brand new baby, conceived in love and dedicated to the proposition that he would do something with his life that would justify our having gone through what it took to bring him into this world. Both of my parents have long ago left. I'm not in a position to know whether once somebody leaves here, they are conscious of what goes on. But we create our own world, we create our own universe, we create our own reality. So when I want to become whimsical and create a world, that world has as at least two of the inhabitants, my mother and my father, so that they can hear this declaration. As I said, 77 years ago, my parents brought forth on this continent a new person, conceived in love and dedicated to the proposition that he would do something worthwhile in his life that would make us proud, make us understand and feel that what it took to bring him here was not done in vain. It is difficult for us to make judgments about ourselves. And I'm going somewhere with this today, but I needed that introduction. Being 86 years old, people think that I'm too old for anything other than to be 86 years plus however many days come after that I'm walking, talking, breathing, and conscious. But it does put me in a position to be conscious of the problems that older people have in our society. And in this one, which is supposed to be a humane society, one that is concerned about those who cannot help themselves, elderly people are often given the back of the hand and pushed aside. There are not adequate services. There are not caregivers who are adequately trained. And for those who are, this state, under current Governor Pillen and others before him, would not appropriate enough money to make it feasible for competent caregivers to function. Unlike flowers, they don't live on air, sunshine, and water. They eat food and need food and nourishment just like you and me. They have bills to pay. Many times these facilities have to catch as catch can when it comes to employees. Those who would have some ability may not want to work for the minimal salary that a particular facility would give, so all they would do is make up the complement or the number of people who need to be there. I've always lived in Omaha. I've always lived on what is called the North Side. I currently live not many blocks from where I was born. I'm not going to tell you where I was born, the street. But at any rate, this is a community that is in my blood, and my blood is in this community. I got a mailing produced and sent out by an operation known as Archwell, which was to provide medical services to elderly people. Whenever something is set up in our community, I have a degree of skepticism because you know that expression, last hired, first fired? Well, in this instance, I wanted to be sure it wasn't some fly-by-night scheme that would beat people out of their money and leave them worse off than they were when they got there. So I paid them a visit. I want to get the address exactly right, but it's on 28th and Ames. It's across the street from the library up there. And when I went in, I saw a spacious facility. I didn't even know it was there. I had seen the building, but it's like passing something and you see it out of the corner of your eye, but you don't make note of it. Very well lighted, very clean. People who were extremely friendly. And I decided that this bears looking into. Reminds me of something Abraham Lincoln said when he rented his first office. He described everything about it. He said, and in one corner, there was a rat hole, which bore looking into. But at any rate, I decided that I would do all I could to call this facility to the attention of people, not only the elderly, but those who know or care for elderly people. So I'm going to read what they put out and not try to paraphrase. Archwell Health. Dear valued member, how do you become a member? Go up there and tell them that's what you want to be. We're so excited to welcome you to the Archwell Health community and look forward to getting to know you. That's important to us because we care about you as a person, not just as a patient. That's why we offer so much more than great medical care. Your Archwell Health Center is also a place to connect with other seniors like you. I gave a lady a lift before coming here, and by the time she was through, elderly people had begun to come in, and they were going to be playing bingo, something I've never played in my life, but I understand that older people like to play it. And in the older days, there were Catholic churches, and I'd see great big banners saying bingo. And I did some research to see who this Saint Bingo was, because to be given that much play, he must have done something of value in history. Then I found out it's not the name of a saint, it's the name of a game. But at any rate, they were getting ready to play bingo, and they all seemed very, very much at ease. And the people who worked there, friendly, smiling, very accommodating. Continuing. As a member, you can count on getting the care and attention you need. Our doctors see fewer patients, so they have more time to spend with you. That way, they can really get to know you and understand your health goals. We offer same-day and telehealth appointments. We'll even help you with transportation to and from appointments if you need it. And our activity center is a great place to take a fitness class or just visit with fellow members. And I think the transportation within 50 miles of the facility. Being a member means you always know who to call first for your everyday health care concerns. Need to schedule a checkup? Have a question about your medications? Concerned about a nagging cough? That makes me think of a song. You all wouldn't know this because y'all are young, but I think the Coasters may have sung it. Get rid of that runny nose, that nagging cough, that sneeze, that wheeze, and other injuries. Get the wonder drug to cure all your ills. I'll try to remember. Get Jeremiah Peabody's polyunsaturated, quick dissolving, fast acting, pleasant tasting green and purple pills. Oh yeah, little green and purple pills. So if you don't have to worry about Jeremiah Peabody's pills that might or might not cure you, might or might not kill you. This is very competent, well-directed medical attention. At your first appointment, our goal is to learn all about your health concerns, challenges, and goals. After that, it will be important to schedule your recommended preventative health screenings. Staying up to date on your health is our best way of helping you get the most out of life. Please read through our new member materials and learn about the many benefits of Archwell Health membership. In this packet, you'll find, and there's no membership cost, our Archwell Health Center brochure, our member portal guide. If you have any questions at all, please call our office, and this is the number, 531. Some of you may have noticed that 531 is a local number. They ran out of 402 area code numbers. So this now is 531-895-7802. 531-895-7802. Thank you for choosing Archwell Health. We look forward to working with you to keep you healthy and able to live your best life. And I've never had a doctor of my own. I didn't get sick because I wanted to see just how this service would be provided people. I submitted myself to an examination. They took my blood pressure, and naturally there were people in the room, assistants and so forth. And as they looked, they kind of looked at each other and gave me the reading. And they told me what it was, numbers over such and such. I said, well, is that a good reading? They said, good. It's perfect. I wish my blood pressure reading was like that. Well, with the pressures that sometimes, are brought to bear on me, I just thought my blood pressure might be sky high, but it wasn't. The general examination came out very well. I told people at the place that I don't want to slip into dementia, but I think that might be what's happening to me. I forget things. They said, like what? I said, they're the names of old-time actors and actresses I used to could come up with immediately. Some from that era I can, but others I can't remember. And they kind of chuckled, does it make any difference in your life? I said, not living day to day, but I'm just wondering if maybe some of my brain cells are falling and failing on me. I have a way of remembering things. If I have several items, I will create a sentence that includes all of them in a given order, or the first letter of each word and produce a word. Just different ways that I can remember things, and everybody might do that. So they gave me 3 words, unconnected, unrelated: banana, chair, sunrise. And we talked a while. Then they said, What are those three words? I said, banana, chair, sunrise. They said, well, nothing's wrong with your memory. I said, well, maybe I cheated. They said, what do you mean? I said, the banana sat in a chair and watched the sunrise. That's why I put it in my mind so I could remember. And they said, however you remember things, if you remember, and if you can remember what you gave yourself to remember, you don't have that problem. They didn't seem upset. They didn't seem anxious. They didn't rush. There were other situations that I discussed with them, like my cholesterol. There's good cholesterol, bad cholesterol. I don't know one from the other. But if you got the bad cholesterol, that's not good for you. So I had a reading taken on that. And it's slightly high, so I got a prescription, which is the first prescription I ever had in my life. Oh, one other time, many moons ago, many years ago, when I was a young lad and a freshman at Tech High School, which no longer exists as a school, the building is there, I played football, and I played on the line. And nobody was much bigger than anybody else in those days, so you didn't have to be huge. And this one guy, when he was trying to come through the line, I wanted to block him, and his knee came up and hit me in my nose. It started bleeding profusely. We were allowed to take home our jerseys, and I had a green one. The blood flowed into it, and it turned purple. When I got home, naturally, my mother was worried, so she took me to the doctor, and the doctor looked me over. He said, well, he got a bloody nose, but he's going to be all right. However, I'll give you these drops. I remember taking the drops. I'd lay on the bed, let my head hang over the side, and she'd put the drops in, and it tasted like I imagine cardboard tasted. She didn't want me to play football after that, and I acceded to her wishes, and as a result, I became a state senator rather than an all-pro linebacker in the NFL, the smallest in history. Now, I'm mentioning these things to let you know that this place I'm recommending is not one I would recommend if I wouldn't take advantage of those services myself. Those of you who don't have confidence in doctors, go to this facility, and it will, I won't say restore your confidence, because maybe you never had it. You will be put at such ease, and you'll be glad. And if a family member takes you, it will be a load off their mind. And I asked them, would they mind if I read some of this material? And they said, not at all. They want to publicize it. So I'm not going to read everything, but I wanted to give you some background. We're not your typical doctor's office. We see fewer patients, and I read that in the other one. We make health care easy for you by providing complete primary care in one convenient location. We offer exceptional senior primary care and so much more. As an Archwell Health member, you'll have a complete health care team focused on your well-being. In addition to your your healthcare team will also coordinate any surgeries, specialty care, or telehealth visits you may need. We go beyond treatment to offer you comfort, convenience, and peace of mind. But our centers are more than just doctors' offices. They're vibrant communities where you can enjoy fitness classes, board and card games, and many other social activities. It's a great way to connect with other seniors like you, and maybe even make a new friend or two. Becoming a member is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Step 1, schedule a new member appointment. Now, the presumption is that everybody uses what I call the gadget, the computer. I don't use it to this day, but I managed to get where I need to go on time. But I'm going to read what they put. Visit Archwell Health, 3 words, ARCHWELL, health, HEALTH, naturally, .com/live well. The word live is capitalized and the word well is capitalized. Or call to schedule a new member appointment. You're also welcome to drop by for a tour. Step 2. Attend your new member appointment. Here you'll meet your healthcare team and build a plan that's right for you. Be sure to arrive 15 minutes before your appointment time. Bring your medications, your insurance card, a photo ID, and a list of your previous doctors. And if you don't have all of these things, go anyway. You can get help on anything that you need. Step 3. Schedule regular wellness visits. Wellness visits are a vital part of a successful care plan. In addition to regular checkups and labs, wellness means taking preventative steps like exercising and eating a healthy diet so that you can keep doing the things you love. Come see how we're changing senior primary care at Archwell Health. Caring makes all the difference. And I want to see if I've got the exact address. But anyway, it's across the street coming east on 30th, from 30th. East of the library, you'll see the building. Go there. Tell them Ernie Chambers sent you. People have a way of rationalizing when there are serious issues, and by rationalizing, I meant trying to look away from them as though they don't exist. COVID is still here. COVID has a cousin, RSV, which is another disease of your breathing system. You want to be aware of these ailments. I don't just talk a good game, I want to play a good game. I got my COVID shots and boosters. I get a flu shot every time flu season is upon us. And this time around, I got the RSV shot. Again, because my memory might fail me, I had to remember how to recollect this RSV, so if I wanted the shot, I could tell it. Well, there is something that is burned in my mind. RSVP, répondez s'il vous plaît, respond. So RSV and drop the P, and there it is for me. So flu shot and RSV I got together. Every COVID booster that was due, I would get. I'd gotten them at Charles Drew Health Clinic. I wrote an ode, which is a rhyme of praise, to COVID-19. The word COVID is an acronym. That means you take the parts of letters and put them together and create a word. The coronavirus has been here, but there are different mutations and different types. So CO is the coronas, is for corona. The VI is for virus. COVID, COVID would be coronavirus, and the D stands for disease. So COVID is the acronym for coronavirus disease and the -19 of 2019. And that's how they identify it. Here it is. I name things. Cyrus the virus, extremely desirous of raging like uncontrolled fire. Cyrus the virus did pen on papyrus, would that all humans expire. Cyrus the virus does not admire us. If it could have its own way, it would inspire us, then would require us by recklessness ourselves to slay. O Cyrus the virus, forget not King Pyrrhus, who dealt the Romans what for? A victory he won, but when all was done, King Pyrrhus lost the war. Cyrus the virus, the fate of King Pyrrhus awaits you if man but relents. Your days are numbered when minds are unencumbered, embracing medical science and sense. Cyrus the virus will not make us all expire, but there are people who listen to these so-called anti-vaxxers. They're against all vaccinations. Some of them even say there are tiny microchips in the COVID vaccine that will monitor everywhere you go and everything you do. Have you ever heard such a crazy thing in all your life? A chip that's small enough to go through that very tiny needle that carries the vaccine into your system also has microchips. What kind of machine is going to make the chip? What kind of machine is going to program a methodology of tracing and charting all your movements? Does that make sense to you? Well, these anti-vaxxers are not sensible people. They don't want vaccinations of any kind. Right now in Florida, their general, whatever they call it, their head medical doctor, has said that vaccinations for measles should be voluntary. He'd recommend it, but it wouldn't be required anymore. And there were children who came down with measles. It is a highly contagious disease. It can be transmitted by contact or through the air. You can be in a room where somebody is infected, and if you haven't been vaccinated, you get it, then you spread it. The good news for measles is that what they do is being spread by human beings through their own carelessness and foolishness. Because there is not a lot of daily discussion about COVID, people think it has gone away, that it's less deadly. Both of those propositions are incorrect. This paper that I have here is dated March 13th, 2024, and that would be Wednesday. Is today Wednesday? That's today. Don't that beat all? That's what old people say. I did that on purpose. Here is an article in today's paper. CDC will expand testing for diseases at airports. Dateline, New York. The top U.S. public health agency will expand a program that tests international travelers for COVID-19 and other infectious diseases. But you've been led to believe that COVID-19 is no longer a problem. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention Program asks arriving international passengers to volunteer to have their noses swabbed and answer questions about their travel. The program operates at 6 airports, and the CDC said Tuesday it will add 2 more, Chicago's, O'Hare, and Miami. Those locations should provide more information about respiratory infections coming out of South America, Africa, and Asia, particularly those areas, CDC officials said, CDC. The program began in 2021 and was credited with detecting coronavirus variants faster than other systems. The genomic testing of travelers nasal swabs has mainly focused on COVID-19. But testing also is being done for 2 other respiratory viruses, flu and RSV. I got shots for all of them. COVID, RSV, and flu. I'd rather be safe than sorry. COVID is out there. The rhyme that I wrote for COVID, it still applies now. And this part about COVID's days being numbered, when minds unencumbered embrace medical science and sense. Some people remember the Kennedy clan. JFK, John Fitzgerald Kennedy, was president. He was assassinated. While president, he appointed his younger brother, Robert Francis Kennedy, Attorney General. So there's JFK, RFK. Robert was assassinated also. He had a son. His name is Robert F. Kennedy Jr. And he went haywire someplace. And he is now what's known as an anti-vaxxer. He is against people being vaccinated. He is going to run as a third-party candidate for President of the United States. To show what an idiot he is, 2 people are being considered by him to be his vice presidential running mate. One is Aaron. He was the quarterback for Green Bay. I can never think of his name. That's dementia sneaking up on me. And then this guy who was the wrestler, who through some quirk became the governor of Minnesota. These could be called the 3 fools or the 3 stooges, but there are people who will follow what they say. I'm going to read something that I had written a few months ago. It appeared in a column called Midland's Voices in the Omaha World Herald. Headline, Irresponsible Anti-Vax Claims Mislead Black Nebraskans. I love my people. How can I not help but it? When I am of them, they are of me, we are of one blood. But in reality, all human beings who live now, ever have lived, or will live, based on the Bible, of one blood are all nations. Therefore, we can give an answer to the question that Cain put to God when there were only 4 people on the earth: Mother Eve, Father Adam, Cain, and Abel. And one of them was a murderer and one was a victim. And for some reason, Cain fell out with Abel and smashed his brains out. And when God came through the Garden of Eden where the 4 of them lived, asked Cain, "Where's your brother?" Cain got a sneering look on his face. God's supposed to know everything. So he put a question back to God. He answered the question with a question. Am I my brother's keeper? God did not answer the question. No verse anywhere in the Bible directly answers that question. When I was young, I was raised in a religious straitjacket, so to speak. Not S-T-R-A-I-G-H-T, a straight line. S-T-R-A-I-T, a straight, which means it doesn't have any sleeves on it, and they tie a belt in your back, around the back, so you can't do anything. Raised in a religious straitjacket. I was always studious. I had trouble recognizing my letters when I was young, so I studied them. I mastered them. And to show you how dementia is getting me and how it turns me around, you all say A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. But I remembered them. I think I got them right. But being messed up like I am, I'm backward. Z, Y, X, W, V, U, T, S, R, Q, P, O, N, M, L, K, J, I, G, F, D, C, B, A. I say it backwards. So maybe dementia hasn't got me completely. But at any rate, that question was not answered. But there was a verse, and I cited it, of one nation, of one blood are all nations of man. There was a British poet named John Donne, and he wrote a poem, For Whom the Bell Tolls. And he talked about, England, that was the parallel he was going to draw for what he wanted to say, that if a clod of dirt fell washed from the shore of England, England was so much the less because of that. He said, and these words most people have seen in some form or other, no man is an island entire unto itself. Each is a part of the main. Went on and then said, every man's death diminishes me because I am a part of humankind. Therefore, seek not to know for whom the bell tolls, it tolls for thee. When somebody died, they tolled the bell. They rang the bell. So I put all those things together. Of one blood come all nations of men. Every man and woman is a part of this whole. No part of it can be cut off without diminishing the totality. So, the answer that I give to the question that God gave Cain, and which Cain ignored, to the extent that I'm able, I am my brother and my sister's keeper. And when I was in the legislature, believe it or not, I don't claim to have any religion. I don't condemn anybody for having theirs, to each his or her own. Anytime somebody had a problem, when they were mistreated or misused, especially by the government, whether it was at the hands of the governor, the attorney general, the court, a specific judge, I would immediately get on the case. And I was known for that. And some people ask me, how in the world are you going to talk about how racist these white people are? They still deprive us of our rights. Then you turn around and help them. I say, well, to my knowledge, none of those I've helped are the ones who are consciously and deliberately doing this. But what difference would it make to me if, when I put my hand up and gave that affirmation that I would carry out the duties of this job to the best of my ability? I don't swear. It goes back maybe to my religious roots. These people call themselves Christians. Their authority is the Bible, which they call the Bible. That must not be true. In court, you swear to tell the truth and whole truth and nothing but the truth and put your hand on the Bible. Which you ought to say, I swear to tell the truth and everything but the truth, if you want to really tell the truth. The Bible says, Jesus said it, swear not by heaven, for it is God's throne. Swear not by earth. Swear not by Jerusalem, for it's his footstool. Swear not by your head, because you can't make one hair white or black. I'd say to you, swear not at all. Yet your yea be yea, your nay be nay. Anything more than this comes of evil. But the formal oaths for every office in this country, do you swear? But because during the early days of this country, there were religious people who took their religion seriously, although not so seriously that they wouldn't drown women if they were thought to be witches. They wouldn't crush men with stones if they were thought to be practitioners of witchcraft. But one thing they wouldn't do was swear. So that meant they couldn't be members of the government. So they had to open a way for these kind of people to serve in office because despite their backwardness and viciousness in carrying out their religion, they were intelligent people and they could help the government. So next to the word swear, they put parentheses, and in that parenthesis within them were two words, or affirm. And the only purpose of an oath is to call your attention to a specific point when you made a statement that was to be true. And if it was one required by law to be true and it was not, the fact that we can go back to this particular statement where you took this oath means that you lied under oath, you committed perjury, and you can be punished for it. But they never believed that saying those words, I swear, would make you tell the truth. Because you were lying when you said you swore to tell the truth. But at any rate, it now is a part of the official oath for any governmental office. I solemnly swear or affirm. So when I put my hand up, it wasn't swear, it was affirm. When I gave that affirmation, it was to carry out the duties of this office to the best of my ability, and that meant anybody, I don't care who they were. It could be Jack the Ripper. It could be Adolf Eichmann. It could be Adolf Hitler. If that person was being treated unfairly by the government, and there was anything I could do to undo or prevent that unfair treatment, that's what I do. Then you go on after them in the proper way if they violated the law. I have my own way of looking at life and living it, and other people do too. But there comes a point when we have to acknowledge that there are people who know more about certain things than we do, and we'd be wise to listen to them. You all have heard of AI, artificial intelligence. This is where machines that generate, I call them machines, they're devices. They can do things that human beings can't do. So I tell people, the machines, men who create machines like that are geniuses, but the true magicians are the machines that build machines. And machines can build machines that the human being who created that machine that builds machines cannot build. And now they're worried about what this artificial intelligence will do. They hear things, but they don't go to the background for it. There was a book written by an 18-year-old girl named Mary Shelley called Frankenstein. People think that because of what they've seen in the movie, especially with Boris Karloff stumbling and got his hands out in front, strong as an ox and deadly. Frankenstein was the name of the doctor, Victor Frankenstein. He wanted to use electricity to bring life into dead tissue. So he constructed a body, put a brain in it, used electricity, and brought the creature alive. People called it a creature, but he was given a name. Guess what his name was? What was the name of the first man? Adam. The name of this person that Dr. Frankenstein, Victor Frankenstein, created was Adam. I deliberately went on that path, and I'm going to finish it. But I want to go back to the Garden of Eden. Let me finish Frankenstein first. He was very big, about 8 feet tall, And he had scars where he'd been stitched together. His lips were black because blood wasn't flowing like it ordinarily should. He was very intelligent. He could speak several languages. He could read. But he was ugly. A little girl had been drowned, and he brought the body, and people looked, and because of him, they jumped to a conclusion that he had killed the little girl, and they attacked him. He said, "Beware, lest you make me the monster that you say that I am." But he couldn't be around human beings anymore after that, and he knew it. So he went to Dr. Frankenstein. He said, "The worst thing you did to me, the greatest injustice you committed against me, was that you made me conscious of myself. You made me aware that I am, that I exist, and I am also able to see the horror that people experience at the mere sight of me. And when I had been chased and was tired, thirsty, I came to a stream. The water was placid. It was like a looking glass. And when I bent over the bank to drink, for the first time, I saw what I looked like. And I knew why people were horrified." He said, "What I want you to do is make me a mate. You were unfair to me." And his voice choked. I might be able to duplicate it, but I'm not going to try. He said, "Everything has a mate. Every animal of every kind and variety has a mate. Even Satan, Lucifer, when he rebelled against God and was thrown out of heaven, there were angels that accompanied him. Everything on this earth has a mate except me. I want you to make me a mate." So to make the story, long story short, Dr. Frankenstein made him a mate, but then he said, "This man is so powerful, if I had another one, the two of them could take over the world." Remember, this is a story written by an 18-year-old girl. They couldn't do it. So he destroyed what he had made. And the monster saw him destroyed because he'd been watching him, and he was furious, and he told the doctor that he was going to track him down. He'd make him miserable. And it would come to him on his wedding night. So Dr. Frankenstein did get married, and he thought that the monster was going to kill him. Then he heard this blood-curdling scream, and he had miscalculated. The monster meant he'd kill his wife, which was done. He killed Frankenstein's wife. Then the rest of the story was the doctor trying to track the monster down, and the monster was playing cat and mouse with him. But that young girl at 18 years old put a profound statement in that monster's mouth. And people haven't read this book. They go by the show, and the words are not there. But that monster looked at the doctor. He said, "You are my creator, but I am your master." Artificial intelligence is going to tell these human beings, "You are my creator, but I am your master. And don't you ever forget it." My time has run out, and there are a few things that I wanted to be sure and get to. But when you do as I do, and you're not tied to a script, you go here, there, and everywhere, just like water. If there's not some impediment, it'll just keep spreading. That's why they build dams, dikes, and whatnot to keep the water under control. I'm going to be doing these programs, and I will stray from my topic from time to time. Because when I do these, I'm talking in my mind to people. Maybe there's only one person, maybe none, but I don't know. But if there is only one, if there are some, I want to show the regard and respect for you that I have, even if you disagree with everything I said. I'll take seriously your ability to think and reason, and although you cannot talk back to me, I will, to the best of my ability, make clear what I'm trying to get at. Now I'm going to say something real quick. If there are only 4 people on the earth, Adam and Eve, Cain and Abel, then there were 3 when Cain killed Abel, and he said, people say you have the death penalty because God said, if man sheds blood, by man's hand shall his blood be shed. Cain told God, when God told him, you're out of the garden, get out of here. Cain said, every man's hand will be raised against me. I cannot go anywhere without people being against me and killing me. So God put a mark on him. Why? So that nobody would raise his hand against Cain. Now here's the question. Where did all these other people come from who would be raising their hand against Cain when there were only 3 people left on the earth, Adam and Eve and Cain? If Cain was driven out of the garden, if Adam and Eve had other children, by the time they became adults, they couldn't do anything to Cain. But Cain went to another place and took a wife. So even the Bible is flawed, but people don't read it that way for themselves. They listen to what people tell them. So there may have been more than one creation, the one that the Holy Bible talks about, and then another creation that it does not mention in detail, but it lets you know there was a second creation because God created other human beings, and from one of those other creations, Cain took a wife. Y'all don't think about that, do you? Because we're not taught to think. We're taught to parrot. Give back what people put in our head. If you think as a child, they say, you trying to get smart with me? No, you're trying to just get smart. And they'll say things like, I'll slap you so hard, I'll slap you into the middle of next week. The violence, because they're so much bigger than the child. But that man who would say that to a child wouldn't say it to Mike Tyson because he's a coward, he's a bully, he's cruel, and he's not using the brain cells in the way that they should be used. Now, if people started out watching this and then decide not to watch it, I don't know that you're not watching it. And what I do is not based on whether anybody watches it or not, but based on an agreement that I made to present the information that I think I ought to present. Maybe somebody else would say, I wouldn't say that. Well, because you're not me. Maybe I wouldn't say what you say. And that's why there are so many people, so many different points of view. And if we were wise, we learn how to come together and each give his or her contribution to a common pot. Instead of us fighting each other, snipping at each other, we might produce, so to speak, an intellectual stew that makes us all better than what we were. Because I learned from you, you learned from me, and when we put what both of us learned together, we come up with a third item that's better than either of the other two alone. You were given a brain. You were given a mind. Make the most of it. Stop being cruel to children. Stop, if you're strong, stop oppressing the weak. If you're weak but cunning, don't be a trickster. And I think that my time is so close to being out, I don't want to get on a trail that I won't be able to walk to the end of. So with that, I'm out of here.
You've been watching The Ernie Chambers Show. If you'd like to leave suggestions, email us at ewcfacts@gmail.com. That's ewcfacts@gmail.com. This is an EWC Communications production.